Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna and this morning we're visiting with Greg Drake. He's the Butler County Extension Agent for Agriculture and Natural Resources. Good morning, Greg.
Morning, Joanna. It's great to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here because, it's August and it's hot. And a lot of people are kind of winding down with their garden, but we have some great resources available at the Extension office. If they might have had some trouble this year, they can get prepared to have even better year next year.
Absolutely. We diagnose a lot of sick plants. We diagnose more sick plants when it's wet and cool, but there at the Butler County Extension office, we diagnose them all year. And a lot of times it's homeowners that are growing garden and they might have been growing the garden for 40 years and find something weird that happens. Weird things always happen to good gardeners, new gardeners, more experienced gardeners, and we're always looking for some kind of a spray to solve the problem. And unfortunately, in garden and home fruit and home shrubbery, a spray is not going to cure your problem. I can say that almost without exception. So today I wanted to talk about the Homeowner's Guide to Fungicides. And fungicides are a type of chemical that we spray on plants to fight disease. So the Homeowner's Guide to Fungicides is kind of a unique one in that it is designed specifically for homeowners, not somebody that's growing for the farmer's market or growing for some specific market, growing in a commercial setting. They have more pesticide options. And this Homeowner's Guide to Fungicides is an important thing that we can allow our people, they have access to with Google, or they can come by their extension office and have a look.
Because with fungicides, a lot of times if we have some preventative measures, if we do it preventively, a lot of times when we get the samples brought into our office, it already has it and there's not much we can do for it. If we can prevent that, but half of that battle is exactly what you're talking about, is knowing what you have. So if you've had this issue this year, then we probably need to plan to do some preventative next year.
That's exactly right. And a lot of us are forced to grow our garden in the same place. Like your mom and dad's garden probably is the same place it was when you lived in the house there. Mine is. So we need to be doing things like crop rotation if we can. But if we can't, we need to realize that if we had diseases on our tomatoes or our squash this year, we're probably going to have them again next year. So we need to plan for that and be thinking about these protective fungicides. It's kind of a hard thing nobody wants to hear when they bring me a sick plant. I start with, have you been spraying it with anything to protect it? Typically, no in homeowners. And typically, if you've got a plant that's half eat up with plant disease, homeowner fungicides are not gonna help you. So we got to be thinking about protective. And another thing that you said is identification of the disease. The Extension Service all over South Central Kentucky, we've got county agents in the office that will identify diseases on homeowner shrubs and fruit trees and vegetable plants and strawberries and whatever. And when Greg doesn't know what one is, we send it to the lab at Lexington to somebody with more experience. So if you find disease in your plants, get it properly identified instead of just going out here and throwing fungicides at it.
Absolutely, and there's some that are more driven by weather patterns, some that are they live in the soil, and so knowing some of those things will help us make management decisions for the next year.
Absolutely, and the last thing I want to say, I wouldn't be a good county agent if I didn't say read the label. All that stuff that's on these homeowner pesticides are on there for your protection and the environment's protection. Read the label, mix it appropriately, put it on appropriately. A lot of times it's going to say 7 to 10 days, and if it gets rained on, you got to do it more frequently. And another thing is clean up. If we're spraying fungicides on our garden, we don't need to leave that in our sprayer over the wintertime because it'll ruin our sprayer. The chemicals get sticky and they don't work. So follow the label directions on cleanup and then safely store those pesticides away from young family members and pets and whatever. So there's a lot of great information on that label. Homeowner's Guide to Fungicides, you can get it at your extension office, preparing for next year's garden, and it'll be around here before we know it. And we're planting some fall crops now too, so we can get disease on those.
Absolutely. Well, Greg, thanks for the information, because it is great to be proactive and prevent some of these things instead of being reactive to them. So any help that we can do on anything Greg talked about today, make sure to contact your local extension office. Thanks for watching and have a great day.